On a 9th October, something within you begins to shift quietly, powerfully, and without noise. The energy of this day carries a message. Acceptance is the key that opens the door to healing. For too long, you fought against what already happened. You've replayed the same moments, questioned the same decisions, and held on to pain that no longer belongs in your present. But 9th October arrives as a reminder that what's done is done, and peace begins the moment you stop resisting it. Acceptance isn't weakness, it's strength in its purest form. It's not giving up, it's waking up. When you accept your past, you reclaim your power from it. You stop being the victim of old stories and start becoming the author of new ones. The truth is, the past cannot hurt you anymore unless you continue feeding it your energy. Every time you revisit what broke you, you give it life again. But on the 9th of October, you are invited to breathe differently, to think differently, to choose differently. You no longer need to carry what has already served its purpose. Acceptance is not the end of something. It's the beginning of everything that's waiting to bloom. This day calls you to look at your scars without shame. They are not signs of defeat, but evidence of your survival. What hurt you once taught you what strength truly means. Healing doesn't mean erasing your story, it means reading it with new eyes. You begin to see that every loss, every mistake, every ending was necessary for you to evolve into who you are now. On the 9th of October, you are reminded that pain is not the opposite of growth, it's the soil from which growth rises. You cannot find the light without first facing the dark that shaped you. Acceptance is an act of courage. It means choosing peace over control. You can no longer control what happened, but you can control how you carry it. When you stop fighting the past, your energy returns to the present. And that's where healing begins, right here, in this moment, on this day. Every breath you take today is a step closer to freedom from the weight you once carried. You start to see that nothing external has the power to break you unless you give it permission. 90 October marks the end of resistance. It whispers, love, let go, not because you are weak, but because you are ready. Ready to stop reliving the same story. Ready to stop defining yourself by what was lost. Ready to make peace with yourself. You begin to see that acceptance is the highest form of wisdom. The quiet understanding that everything happens exactly as it should. Even when it doesn't make sense in the moment, you start to trust that life has never been against you, it has always been shaping you. You don't need to fix the past to move forward. You just need to stop carrying it. The moment you accept what happened, the energy that was stuck begins to move again. You start to breathe lighter, think clearer, and feel deeper. Your focus shifts from what you can't change to what you can create. On the 9th October, you are given a choice: remain chained to what broke you or rise from it. The healing you seek doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from surrendering to the truth that you are no longer the same person who was hurt. You've evolved beyond that moment, even if you haven't realized it yet. Acceptance means taking back your attention from pain and redirecting it toward growth. It means understanding that every ending was preparing you for a new beginning. The people who left, the doors that closed, the things that didn't work out, they all made space for something greater. The energy of 9th October is the energy of release. It tells you to unclench your heart, to exhale what's heavy, and to walk forward without fear. Because everything that was taken from you will return in another form. Softer, truer, wiser. Healing is not about forgetting what happened. It's about no longer being controlled by it. Acceptance transforms pain into power, chaos into clarity. You start to see that your life isn't falling apart. It's realigning. What's gone was never meant to stay. What's meant for you cannot miss you. And on this day, you finally begin to believe it. The heaviness that once defined you starts to lift. You begin to breathe again, not just with your lungs, but with your spirit. 9th October stands as a symbolic moment of rebirth. A day where the weight of yesterday loses its hold. When you accept your story, you reclaim your peace. You stop needing explanations, apologies, or closure from others because you've already given those things to yourself. You realize that the only closure you ever needed was acceptance. And from that acceptance, your strength grows silently, like light breaking through after a long storm. Every moment of your life, even the painful ones, has been preparing you for this awareness. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. You are not broken, and you are becoming whole again. You are no longer running from what hurt you. You are walking with it. Calmly, gracefully, without fear. And that is the power of this day. So on 9th of October, stop resisting, stop replaying, stop carrying what isn't yours anymore. Instead, breathe, stand still, and accept. The healing begins the moment you do. The past can no longer touch you because you've stepped out of its shadow. You are not the same. You are stronger, clearer, and finally free. What you thought was gone forever was never lost. It was waiting for you to return to yourself. And now, on this day, you have. On the 9th of October, life brings you a reminder that pain was never sent to destroy you. It was sent to awaken you. The moments that broke you open were not punishment. They were preparation. Every tear, every loss, every silence was shaping something stronger inside of you. On this day, the truth becomes clear. Pain is not the enemy. It is a teacher that speaks in a language only the soul can understand. It doesn't come to hurt you. It comes to show you what you still need to release, what you still need to learn, and who you are becoming through the process. On the 9th October, look back at everything that once made you fall to your knees. Notice how you survived it. Notice how, even when you thought it was over, life kept moving through you. That strength you carry now was born in those dark hours. The lessons you live by today were shaped in the fire of your suffering. Pain refines you the way heat refines gold, burning away the false, revealing what's real. You can't see your power until life tests it. You can't feel your strength until something challenges it. This day carries the energy of understanding. You begin to see that nothing in your life happened by accident. The heartbreak, the disappointment, the failures, they were all part of a greater design, a silent training for your soul. On 9th October, you are invited to stop asking why it happened and start seeing what it taught you. The universe doesn't waste pain. Every struggle comes with a message, and that message always leads you back to yourself. There is no growth in comfort. The most beautiful versions of you are born when you are uncomfortable, uncertain, and raw. Pain forces you to stop pretending, to stop running, to face your truth. It strips away what's temporary so that what's real can stand. On the 9th of October, allow yourself to see pain not as punishment but as transformation. It's the moment when your old self begins to fade and your true self starts to rise. What once broke you open was never meant to end you. It was meant to begin you. You see, when life is easy, you don't question, you don't look deeper. You drift, but when life hurts, you awaken. Pain has a way of pulling you back to awareness, of grounding you in what truly matters. The people who hurt you taught you where your boundaries needed to be. The failures taught you what you were capable of overcoming. The endings taught you that nothing is permanent, and that's what gives life its beauty. And 9th October becomes a symbol of this awakening, a reminder that even your hardest moments were seeds planted for your evolution. Growth does not happen in light alone. It needs shadow. It needs pressure. It needs silence. You become who you are meant to be, not when everything is perfect, but when everything feels impossible, and yet you still rise. That's the lesson of 9th October. You rise not in spite of pain, but because of it. Pain breaks the illusions. It teaches humility. It brings awareness. It teaches you to trust the unseen. It softens the heart and sharpens the spirit. There are two ways to face pain: resist it or learn from it. Resistance keeps you stuck. Learning transforms you. When you resist, the suffering continues. When you accept it as a teacher, you step into freedom. On this day, stop fighting what hurt you. Look at it, understand it, and take its lesson. Because every lesson ignored will repeat until it's understood. But once you learn, the same pain no longer has power over you. 9th October is the day you decide to stop running and start growing. You will notice that once you change your view of pain, everything changes with it. Instead of saying, "Why me?" you begin to say, "Thank you for showing me what needed to change." Pain reveals your blind spots. It shows you where you've been asleep. It calls you back to discipline, awareness, and inner strength. When you see pain as a guide, it becomes a sacred ally, the force that pushes you closer to your purpose. On the 9th October, you remember that the most valuable lessons in life rarely come wrapped in comfort. They arrive disguised as challenges, losses, and endings. Yet every time something breaks, it breaks open space for something new to grow. You cannot receive the next chapter if you're still clinging to the last one. The old version of you had to die for the new one to be born. That death, that pain, was never the end. It was the passage. Growth demands that something within you changes. And change often hurts, but that hurt is sacred. It means something new is forming inside you. On the 9th of October, the pain you once feared becomes the very proof that you are alive, evolving, and becoming more aligned with your truth. Pain cleanses, it humbles, it strengthens. It takes everything away that you don't need and leaves you with what truly matters. You are not here to escape pain. You are here to grow through it. Every challenge you faced up until now was training you for the strength you'll need tomorrow. Every tear watered the soil of your future. Every heartbreak cracked you open so light could enter. On this day, understand that the pain that once broke you is now the reason you stand taller, speak wiser, and walk stronger. 9th October reminds you that nothing you've endured was wasted. Every storm carried wisdom. Every fall carved a deeper understanding of who you are. That the path of growth is not about avoiding pain, it's about transforming it into power. So instead of seeing your past as a wound, start seeing it as a foundation. Everything you've learned came from moments that once hurt, and that is your power now. Today is the day you stop seeing pain as a curse. You begin to see it as a gift. The gift that awakened you, refined you, and reminded you that healing is not found in running from pain, but in walking through it with awareness. 9th October is not about sadness. It's about rebirth. It's about standing in the same place that once broke you and realizing you are not the same. You have grown, you have learned, and you are still standing stronger than ever. On the 9th of October, you are reminded of something so simple yet so powerful. The present moment is all you ever have. Everything you are searching for, everything you are chasing is already here in this breath, in this second. The noise of your past and the fear of your future have kept you away from what truly matters. This moment, when your mind is scattered between what was and what might be, you lose the only thing that can ever bring peace presence. On this day, 9th October, life asks you to return, not to a place, not to a memory, but to I yourself. When you are present, everything slows down. The chaos softens. The weight begins to lift. You stop running after what's gone and stop worrying about what hasn't come yet. You begin to see that peace was never missing, your attention was. The power of 9th October lies in awareness, the quiet realization that the present is not something to reach, it's something to inhabit. When your mind learns to stay here, your life begins to change. The present moment is your greatest teacher. It doesn't lie, it doesn't pretend, it shows you exactly what is. But most of the time, your mind tries to escape it, replaying old pain, chasing future desires. You are either trapped in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's expectations, and in that chase, you forget to leave. On the 9th of October, you are called to wake up, to open your eyes to the miracle of now. Every breath, every heartbeat, every second is life unfolding for you, not against you. When you reconnect with the present, healing happens naturally. You no longer need to fight your thoughts or control everything around you. You begin to understand that peace doesn't come from changing your circumstances. It comes from changing your awareness. The past no longer owns you because it no longer lives in you. The future stops frightening you because it doesn't exist yet. Only this moment is real, and when you give it your full attention, everything begins to align. On 9th October, let yourself breathe deeply, not to calm your body, but to awaken your soul. Feel the air enter and leave you. Feel how life moves through you effortlessly. This is presence. You don't need to earn it, you just need to notice it. The more aware you become of the present, the more distance you create between yourself and your thoughts. You begin to observe instead of react. You start responding with clarity instead of emotion. The present moment becomes your anchor, your stillness amid every storm. You've been living as if peace is somewhere far ahead, something you'll reach when everything falls into place. But 9 October shows you that peace has been here all along, waiting for you to stop searching. When you stop trying to fix everything, you realize that nothing was broken, only forgotten. Presence reveals this truth. The more you live in awareness, the less power the world has over your inner state. You begin to carry calm within you instead of chasing it outside of you. Life is not happening yesterday or tomorrow, it's happening now. Every moment you spend outside the present is a moment lost. On this day, learn to pull yourself back from distractions, from memories, from fears. Anchor yourself in the simple act of being. Watch how everything changes when you do, not because the world changes, but because you start seeing clearly again. Clarity is born from stillness, not from control. 9th October holds the energy of awakening. It tells you to stop running from the now, to stop escaping through endless thoughts, worries, or comparisons. The present is not always comfortable, but it is always real. And it is only in the real that transformation can happen. When you reconnect with the present, you reconnect with truth. And truth heals. It dissolves illusions. It brings you back to what's essential: awareness, breath, life. Being present doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything with awareness. When you walk, feel the ground beneath you. When you speak, mean your words. When you listen, truly listen. When you breathe, notice it. Every action done in awareness becomes meditation. Every moment lived consciously becomes sacred. 9th of October is not just another day, it is an invitation to return to this kind of living. To remember that life is not waiting for you somewhere in the future, it is breathing with you right now. You will notice that when your mind stays in the present, the weight of your worries disappears. Anxiety cannot survive in the now. It needs the future to exist. Regret cannot survive in the now. It needs the past to feed it. The moment you step into awareness, you starve both. You begin to taste the stillness that has always been underneath the noise. And from that stillness, strength rises, silent, calm, unshakable. On the 9th of October, be still. Be aware. Let this day be the reminder that everything you need to begin again is already within reach. The past is gone. The future is not yet. This is your space of power, the present. When you live here, life stops being something to chase and becomes something to experience. You stop surviving and start living. Presence brings you back to simplicity. You realize that happiness was never hidden behind achievements or possessions. It was hidden behind your own thoughts. When you slow down, you rediscover joy in small things: the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of your breath, the peace in silence. That is the healing energy of this day. It teaches you to find beauty not in what you want, but in what already is. 9th October stands as a symbol of awareness, a turning point where your energy shifts from chasing to being. This is where real transformation begins. You are no longer defined by what happened or what's coming. You are defined by your awareness in this moment. When you master presence, you master life itself. So today, breathe, let go of yesterday, stop reaching for tomorrow. Feel this moment fully, the quiet, the stillness, the pulse of life within you. This is where you belong. This is where peace lives. This is where healing begins. 9th October is not a date, it is a state, the return to now. On the 9th October, life brings a lesson so clear it cannot be ignored. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Everything you give focus to grows stronger. If you feed your fears, they multiply. If you nurture your peace, it expands. The universe does not respond to what you wish for, it responds to what you focus on. And today, this truth stands before you like a mirror. It shows you how much of your energy has been wasted on things that drain you instead of things that build you. On this day, stop feeding what hurts you. Stop watering what no longer blooms. Every thought you repeat becomes a root. Every feeling you cling to becomes a seed. And your inner garden is shaped by what you give attention to. If you keep thinking about what went wrong, your life will continue to echo that vibration. If you keep replaying loss, you'll keep living in lack. 9 October is the day to shift your focus from pain to purpose, from what's gone to what's growing, from fear to faith. Energy is neutral until you direct it. Every thought you think carries power, and every emotion you choose sets the tone for what's coming next. The truth is simple. You cannot heal while focusing on what broke you. You cannot rise while staring at what brought you down. On the 9th of October, you are called to redirect your energy toward creation, not repetition. The moment you start focusing on peace, it begins to return. The moment you start focusing on gratitude, your heart begins to open again. You have lived long enough giving attention to your wounds. Now it's time to give attention to your strength. What you feed with your awareness becomes your reality. The more you complain, the more reasons you'll find to complain. And the more you practice gratitude, the more reasons you'll find to be grateful. This is the silent law that governs everything. Your energy always expands where your attention goes. And on the 9th October, you are reminded that this power is yours to control. You do not heal by escaping your pain. You heal by changing how you engage with it. When you focus on growth, even pain becomes useful. When you focus on gratitude, even challenges become teachers. You are not meant to be a prisoner of your thoughts. You are meant to be the master of them. The energy that once fueled your fear can fuel your transformation. 9th October is the moment you reclaim that control. Be aware of what you think about when you wake up, what you hold in your mind before you sleep. These are the moments that set the tone for your life. If you keep your attention on lack, you will always feel empty. But when you shift toward appreciation, even the smallest thing becomes enough. You begin to live lighter. You begin to breathe easier. Your inner world starts to change, and when it does, your outer world follows. The secret is not in doing more, it's in focusing better. On the 9th of October, make a conscious choice. No more giving your energy to what drains you. No more repeating stories that keep you stuck. Stop feeding your doubts with attention. Stop replaying old pain in your mind. Every time you do, you are creating more of it. Energy is not loyal to the past, it is loyal to your focus. Whatever you look at becomes stronger, so turn your gaze toward peace, healing, and strength. The power of focus is silent but unstoppable. What you consistently think about becomes your state of being. If your thoughts are rooted in fear, fear becomes your atmosphere. But if your thoughts are rooted in faith, peace becomes your presence. 9th October invites you to shift this internal climate, to stop waiting for life to change and start changing where your attention rests. You cannot create light while staring into darkness. You must turn your awareness toward what you wish to grow. Your energy is precious. Every thought, every feeling, every word is a form of investment. Ask yourself where your energy has been going, not with judgment, but with awareness. Because whatever you invest in grows interest. The pain you keep revisiting becomes heavier. The peace you keep choosing becomes stronger. On the 9th of October, invest in yourself, invest in silence, invest in what builds your future, not what binds you to your past. There comes a point when you realize that attention is the purest form of energy. It gives life to everything it touches. When you give attention to your peace, you are feeding your healing. When you give attention to your purpose, you are feeding your evolution. Life is not about controlling everything that happens. It's about mastering where your awareness rests in every moment. This day carries the vibration of renewal. It tells you that your reality begins within. What you believe, what you repeat, what you focus on. This is what shapes your path. If you wish to rise, focus on rising. If you wish to heal, focus on healing. The external world mirrors your inner focus. 9th October teaches that energy doesn't lie. It amplifies what you choose to give it. Your thoughts are like light. They can illuminate or burn, heal or harm, depending on how you use them. When you use your attention wisely, life begins to unfold effortlessly. What once felt heavy starts to lift. What once seemed distant starts to come closer. You begin to notice small shifts, a calmer mind, a lighter heart, a clearer vision. That's the power of directing energy with intention. 9th October is not just another day, it is a threshold, a reminder that you hold the power to shape your reality through focus. What you thought was gone forever can be rebuilt through the energy you give it today. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you rewrite your story. Every time you choose gratitude over pain, you create healing. So today, choose consciously. Watch where your attention goes because your life follows it. If you want light, look toward light. If you want healing, feed it with your awareness. Let this day remind you that you are not a victim of energy. You are the source of it. And when you master where it flows, life begins to bloom again. On the 9th October, your power returns quietly, steadily, completely through the focus you choose. On the 9th October, the world around you may still move fast, but something inside you begins to slow down. You begin to understand that true transformation does not happen in noise. It happens in stillness. Growth is not born from constant movement, but from the quiet moments when you face yourself without distraction. This day carries the message that silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It is awareness in its purest form. It is where the mind softens, the heart clears, and the spirit realigns. For too long, you've been chasing progress, chasing answers, chasing outcomes. But 9 October reminds you that growth doesn't always demand effort. Sometimes it requires you to stop, to breathe, to listen, to be. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It's about allowing everything within you to settle into truth. When the water is still, you can see your reflection clearly. The same is true for your mind. In silence, you see yourself as you truly are. Not who you were told to be, not who you pretend to be, but who you are underneath it all. Transformation through stillness begins when you learn to pause without fear. You stop running from your emotions. You stop avoiding your pain. You let everything you've been suppressing rise to the surface, not to break you, but to cleanse you. On to 9 October, let yourself be still enough to feel. Let yourself hear the thoughts you've been ignoring. Let yourself face the parts of you that have been waiting for acknowledgement, because healing only happens when awareness meets acceptance. In silence, you begin to notice how much of your life has been consumed by noise. Endless thoughts, opinions, distractions, and expectations have filled your mind to the point where you've forgotten how to just be. But on this day, the noise fades. You begin to understand that silence is not your enemy, it's your teacher. The world tells you to keep moving, keep achieving, keep pushing. But real growth whispers differently. It says, be still, let it unfold. 9th October teaches you that silence is power. It sharpens your awareness. It reconnects you with intuition. It allows you to observe life instead of reacting to it. When you sit in stillness, you learn to hear the language of your inner self, the subtle guidance that has always been there waiting for you to listen. This voice is quiet, but it is never wrong. It speaks through calm, not chaos. It guides you through clarity, not confusion. And only when you are still enough can you hear it. The moment you stop fighting for control, something incredible happens. life begins to move through you with ease. You stop trying to force outcomes and start flowing with what is. You begin to realize that surrender is not weakness, it's alignment. It's the point where resistance ends and transformation begins. On a 9th October, you are reminded that the most powerful people are not the loudest, they are the most centered. They are grounded in presence, anchored in peace, and unshaken by noise. Stillness is where you meet truth. When the world goes quiet, the illusions fall away. You start to see what truly matters. You realize that your worth was never tied to productivity or approval. You learn that peace cannot be found through constant doing. It comes from conscious being. Every breath becomes sacred. Every pause becomes powerful. In the calm, you find the strength you've been searching for in motion. This day invites you to observe instead of react, to breathe before you respond, to feel before you speak. In that space between impulse and awareness, transformation happens. You are no longer a prisoner of habit or emotion. You become a master of your own energy. This is the wisdom of 9th October. To understand that stillness is not a pause in your journey. It is the journey. It is where clarity, renewal, and purpose are born. When you allow yourself to be still, your perspective changes. You begin to see patterns you couldn't see before. You notice how much energy was wasted on things that never mattered. You feel the release of letting go of control. You stop chasing peace because you realize peace was already within you. Stillness doesn't add anything new, it removes everything that isn't true. Transformation through stillness is gentle yet powerful. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it unfolds naturally like dawn breaking after a long night. On a 9th October, you are being prepared for that dawn. The more silent you become inside, the more clearly you hear what life is trying to tell you. The noise of fear fades, the weight of overthinking dissolves. What remains is clarity, simple, grounded, unshakable clarity. When you spend time in stillness, you start to see the patterns of your mind. You see how thoughts rise and fall like waves. You learn that you don't have to follow every thought. You can simply watch. You are the awareness behind the noise. And once you realize this, you are free. Free from mental storms, free from emotional chaos, free from the illusions that used to control you. 9th October gives you that moment of awakening. The realization that stillness is not emptiness, it is the fullness of being. This is how true transformation begins, quietly, patiently, deeply. You stop trying to fix the outer world and start aligning the inner one. You stop searching for meaning and start embodying it. You stop needing validation because presence itself becomes enough. From this stillness, every action that follows carries power, precision, and peace. So, on a 9th October, do not rush, do not chase, sit with yourself. Listen to your own breath, feel your own heartbeat. Let silence teach you what noise never could. The more you embrace stillness, the more transformation unfolds without effort. You become steady like the mountain and fluid like water. Calm, aware, and alive. 9 October is not about waiting for change. It is about becoming the space where change naturally happens. When you are still, life reorganizes itself around your peace. What was once heavy becomes light. What was once confusing becomes clear. What was once lost begins to return. Not because you chased it, but because you became ready to receive it. This is the quiet miracle of stillness. This is the truth of transformation. On a 9th October, a shift begins inside you, a moment of quiet realization that everything you've been seeking was never outside. The healing you've been waiting for, the peace you thought was lost, the strength you believed had disappeared. It all begins to return when you understand the power of letting go. Letting go is not losing, it's reclaiming. It's the act of releasing what no longer belongs to your path, so that what is truly meant for you can finally find space to arrive. There is a deep truth in this day. Holding on is heavy. You've carried memories, regrets, and expectations for far too long. The weight of the past has been pressing on your spirit like an invisible chain. But 9 October invites you to open your hands, open your heart, and release. To let go is not weakness. It's the highest act of strength because it takes courage to surrender what once gave you meaning. It takes bravery to walk away from what you once prayed would stay. But this is how you heal. This is how you rise. When you let go, you stop fighting life. You stop resisting what already wants to leave. You stop forcing what is already fading. You learn to trust the flow instead of controlling it. The mind always wants to hold on, to cling to what feels safe. But the soul knows that growth only happens when you make room for the new. On the 9th October, this truth becomes clear. The more you release, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the higher you rise. There comes a moment when you must accept that not everything is meant to stay. People will leave, chapters will close, seasons will end, but none of that means you've lost. It means you are being redirected. The doors that close on 9th October are not punishments, they are protection. The silence that follows is not emptiness, it's preparation. Every ending is an invitation to begin again, but this time from a place of wisdom, not from pain. Letting go means no longer identifying with what broke you. You stop replaying the past in your mind and start reclaiming the present. You stop asking why it happened and start asking what it taught you. You begin to see that nothing was wasted. Not the pain, not the loss, not the confusion. Everything was shaping you into the person who could finally understand the meaning of peace. On the 9th October, you reach that understanding. You see that healing is not about going back, it's about going forward, lighter, freer, and stronger. When you release the weight of what's gone, your energy shifts. You start moving differently, speaking differently, thinking differently. The heaviness in your chest fades because you are no longer fighting against what is. You are aligning with what will be. The power of 9th October lies in this shift, the quiet acceptance that peace begins where resistance ends. The moment you stop forcing outcomes, life starts to flow naturally. The right people, opportunities, and experiences begin to appear, not because you chased them, but because you cleared the space for them to enter. Letting go is not forgetting, it's remembering differently. It's seeing the past as a teacher instead of a wound. It's being grateful for what once was while standing strong in what now is. You realize that everything that left did so to create room for something higher. The universe does not take without purpose. Every loss you've endured was a step toward your liberation. On the 9th October, that realization hits you deeply. You understand that healing is not about erasing memories, it's about detaching your identity from them. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become after it. That is the essence of letting go. It is the act of reclaiming your power from the things that tried to define you. The pain no longer owns you. The fear no longer guides you. The past no longer controls you. You are free to move forward with open eyes and an open heart. 9th October reminds you that freedom doesn't come from holding tighter. It comes from releasing completely. When you truly let go, you start to live differently. You stop chasing happiness and start creating peace. You stop waiting for closure and start finding clarity. You stop seeking validation and start embodying confidence. Your energy becomes your protection. Your calm becomes your strength. This is what healing feels like, not the absence of pain, but the presence of acceptance. On this day, you begin to feel that shift within. The chaos quiets, the storm subsides, and in the calm, you finally hear yourself again. There is something sacred about this kind of release. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, gentle, and powerful. It happens when you take one deep breath and decide, enough. Enough carrying what isn't yours. Enough replaying what you cannot change. Enough trying to fix what is meant to fall apart. On the 9th of October, you stop waiting for peace to find you and start creating it from within. That moment becomes the beginning of your new life. As you move forward, you will notice how much lighter you feel. Your energy begins to attract peace instead of pain. You begin to see the beauty in what once broke you. Because every scar now tells a story of strength. Every ending now whispers a beginning. Every release now opens a door. And in that awareness, you heal not because you forget, but because you finally understand. So on 9th October, let go. Release what's done. Forgive what hurt you. Bless what left you. Thank what broke you. And step into the next chapter with empty hands but a full heart. The moment you surrender the old, life begins to fill you with the new. What you thought was gone forever begins to return, not in the same form, but in a higher one. Peace returns, hope returns, strength returns. And this time, they are not fleeting, they are real, grounded, and yours to keep. This is the quiet miracle of 9th October, the day you stop holding on to what hurts and start embracing what heals. The day you stop chasing and start allowing. The day you finally remember that letting go is not the end. It is the beginning of becoming whole again.